Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into the story of Margaret Chen. It's a story that really challenges, well, basically the last 50 years of conventional thinking on heart health in the West.
It really does. Margaret was 78, and her cardiologist, well, he basically told her a massive heart attack was inevitable. Just imagine hearing that.
Terrifying. And what makes this the perfect starting point for our deep dive is that Margaret was, the good patient. She was actually failing despite following all the rules.
Exactly. She was taking those expensive cholesterol meds, the blood pressure pills, like clockwork. She followed that low-fat diet everyone recommends, avoided salt, did everything right by the book.
And yet
her heart was getting worse, fast. She was looking at stents, maybe bypass surgery, or, well, worse.
Right, stuck in that awful cycle. Costly treatments, just managing symptoms, right? And a lifestyle that probably left her feeling weak and scared all the time.
Pretty much. So today, our mission is to look beyond just symptom management. We're going to dig into this 10 foods list she got from her neighbor, Kaiko, who was a retired cardiac nurse.
And we'll examine the nutritional science behind it. Some of it's pretty surprising, apparently. Our sources claim these foods didn't just slow things down, but actually helped her reverse arterial damage, regenerate her system.
Reverse, that's the key word.
Yeah.
And that tension point you mentioned earlier is fascinating. The fact that the standard approach wasn't working suggests maybe we've misunderstood the heart's ability to heal itself.
So these sources we're looking at, they propose these specific, pretty inexpensive foods act like, what, biological signals?
Kinda, yeah. Signals that tell the body to actively dissolve dangerous plaque, to literally, and this is the phrase used, turn back the biological clock on the heart and arteries.
Let's really paint the picture of Margaret's world before Kaiko showed up. It wasn't just physical decline, was it? It sounds like it was existential dread.
Oh, absolutely. Constant low-grade terror is how it's described. The symptoms were debilitating those chest pains, being so short of breath she couldn't even climb a single flight of stairs. Her world was just shrinking.
No energy. And the source mentioned she was actually starting to make funeral arrangements. That's heartbreaking.
It is, because she believed, truly believed, her decline was just inevitable, part of aging with heart disease.
And ironically, that very low-fat, high-carb diet, the one pushed by cardiologists for decades, might have actually been contributing to the problem.
Well, yeah, despite the best intentions, right. The sources suggest that while she was laser-focused on cutting out fat and cholesterol, she was unintentionally missing out on crucial anti-inflammatory compounds and the specific healthy fats needed for arterial repair.
So the inflammation, the hardening of the arteries, it just kept getting worse silently, even with the medications.
Seems like it. The meds manage some numbers, but not the underlying root causes.
Okay, so she's in despair, the protocol isn't working, and then this chance encounter. Kaiko, her neighbor, a retired cardiac nurse from Japan.
Right. And Kaiko didn't just hand her a list. She offered a completely different perspective, one rooted in, well, traditional wisdom, you could say.
That shift in perspective is key, isn't it, for this first part of our discussion?
Absolutely. Kaiko's approach was holistic. It came from knowledge passed down. Apparently, her grandmother lived to 103 with a really strong heart based on these principles. It wasn't just about avoiding one thing, like fat. It was about how specific nutrients work together, synergistically.
Okay, synergy, promoting deep healing. And Kaiko boiled this down to 3 key biological processes, right?
Yeah.
Things that maybe Western medicine overlooks.
That's what the sources argue. First, the basic need to repair the lining of damaged blood vessels. The endothelium. It's delicate.
Okay, repair the lining.
Second, actively reducing that systemic inflammation. The stuff that makes arteries hard and plaques unstable, that's a big one.
Right, inflammation. Got it.
But the third one, this is the one that often gets missed, and it's kind of revolutionary. Stimulating something called collateral circulation.
Collateral circulation.
Yeah.
That sounds like the bodybuilding detours, like new roads around a traffic jam.
That's a perfect analogy. It's exactly that. The body activating its own innate regenerative power. When a major artery gets blocked or really narrow, the heart, if it gets the right biochemical signals from your diet.
Signals from these foods.
Exactly. It starts growing tiny new blood vessels, these little capillaries around the blockage. Over time, these new pathways can actually take over the blood supply. It's like the body performs its own bypass naturally.
Wow. Instead of surgical bypass, you're fueling a biological bypass.
Precisely. And that distinction is massive. Managing a failing system versus regenerating it from within.
And the huge contradiction here, the thing that's almost hard to believe, is that the cheap, common foods that supposedly did this for Margaret,
are often the exact foods most American doctors tell heart patients to avoid, or they just don't know about their potential. It's all driven by that decades-long fear of fat and cholesterol.
This conflict is really central to what we're unpacking today, isn't it? Why ignore cultures with much lower heart disease rates, cultures that eat these foods regularly, in favor of just drugs and surgery?
It's the big question. So let's dive into these 10 nutritional powerhouses. Simple, inexpensive things that the sources claim can match or even beat high-cost medical treatments.
Okay, section 2, the surprising starters. Food number 1, it's almost boringly common,
Yeah.
garlic.
Yes, humble garlic. But it's the how that matters. Kaiko was really specific. Margaret couldn't just chop it and toss it in a hot pan.
Right, this is the crucial detail. You have to crush it or chop it, and then what?
And then you let it sit. Just sit there on the cutting board, undisturbed, for at least 10 minutes. Before you eat it raw or before you cook it. If you skip that, wait.
You lose the benefits.
Dramatically reduce them, yeah. That waiting period allows an enzyme, alinase, to mix with a compound called limin. And that reaction creates the magic ingredient, allicin.
Allicin. Okay, what does allicin do?
It's the superstar. The research suggests it does several things. It can help stop plaque-forming stuff from sticking to artery walls, maybe even dissolve some existing plaque. Plus, it helps relax blood vessels, strengthens the heart muscle itself, and can lower blood pressure.
Okay, hang on. Lower blood pressure. More effectively than meds, you said earlier.
Often, yes, according to the literature we reviewed, because it works on multiple pathways, not just one target like many drugs.
But wait, I remember you mentioned her cardiologist warned her against garlic, said it would interfere with blood thinners, make her blood too thin. Isn't that a real danger?
That's the classic conflict, isn't it? Liability versus potential benefit. The sources argue that this fear, while common among doctors, is mostly overblown when we're talking about normal dietary amounts of garlic.
So it's not like eating massive supplement doses.
Exactly. For regular food use, some research even suggests garlic might enhance how well blood thinners work therapeutically, while potentially reducing some side effects because it improves overall blood vessel health.
The cardiologist was likely working off older or maybe incomplete information, prioritizing caution over regeneration potential.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Margaret followed the instructions. 2 cloves a day, properly prepared, waiting the 10 minutes.
And the results were fast. 2 weeks, the sources say, her bad chest pains gone.
Wow.
After 1 month, blood pressure down 20 points, cholesterol numbers improved, and she could climb 2 flights of stairs without stopping, something she hadn't done in years.
That's incredible, just from garlic. It shows how much her system needed whatever allicin provides.
Those immediate measurable results really underscore that point.
Okay, moving to food number 2.
Yeah.
This one definitely got hammered by the cholesterol panic back in the 80s and 90s. Whole eggs. You called it the yolk revelation. Huh, yeah. Because Margaret, like millions, was stuck in that low-fat trap. Years of dutifully eating only egg whites. It's just nutritional nonsense, really.
Throwing away the yolk where almost all the good stuff is, based on that old idea that the cholesterol you eat directly clogs your arteries.
Which is way too simplistic. The body's much smarter than that. You toss the yolk, you're tossing out critical things like choline and lecithin.
I get choline and lecithin. What do they do?
Choline's vital for your liver, for your cell membranes. And lecithin actually helps your body emulsify fats, process the bad cholesterol types, and get rid of them. So by ditching the yolk.
She was throwing away the tools her body needed to manage cholesterol, while also starving her heart muscle.
Precisely. It's counterproductive. And Kaiko brought in that cultural context again, right? In Japan, heart health is generally better. Older people eat whole eggs regularly. And it correlates with stronger hearts, better brain function, living longer.
It really suggests the focus should be on getting enough healthy fats, not just avoiding all fats indiscriminately.
Exactly. Nutritional density is key.
Okay, food number 3. This takes us towards Asian staples, maybe less familiar to some, fermented soybeans, specifically natto.
Natto, yeah. It's considered the gold standard here.
Yeah.
Because it's packed with an enzyme called nattokinase.
Nattokinase. Sounds potent.
It is extraordinarily potent. It's what's called a fibrinolytic agent, meaning it can actually dissolve fibrin. Fibrin is the protein mesh that forms blood clots. So nattokinase essentially acts like an internal clot buster.
Wow, so it could help prevent blockages, strokes, heart attacks?
That's the idea. A powerful preventative agent derived from food, kind of like a natural blood thinner, but the sources say with a much better safety profile than pharmaceuticals.
Okay, but natto, it has a distinct texture and smell.
Right.
That might be tough for some people.
Can be an acquired taste, for sure,
Yeah.
and may be hard to find. So Kaiko suggested an alternative, organic tempeh.
Tempeh. That's more common.
Much more common. While it doesn't have that super high concentration of nattokinase like natto, tempeh still contains similar heart protective compounds from the fermented soy, and it's way easier to cook with and fit into a Western diet.
Good to have options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, food number 4 seems simple, but again, there's a catch. Dark leafy greens.
Right, and the catch is quantity. It's not just a little side salad once in a while.
Not a garnish.
Definitely not. Margaret needed to eat at least 2 full cups every single day. Spinach, kale, collard greens, that kind of thing.
2 cups. Why so much? What's the mechanism we're aiming for?
It's all about nitrates. When you eat that volume of greens, your body converts those natural dietary nitrates into nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide, I've heard of that. It's important for blood vessels.
It's the master regulator. It signals the smooth muscles around your arteries to relax vasodilation. That immediately improves blood flow, lowers blood pressure naturally, and gets oxygen everywhere it needs to go, especially the heart muscle. But to get that powerful effect, you need the volume.
Makes sense. And Kaiko also stressed preparation, right? Just eating 2 cups of raw spinach might not be ideal.
Could cause digestive upset for some, and you might not absorb everything. She taught Margaret specific ways like light steaming or sautéing with a healthy fat, makes them taste better, and make sure the body actually gets that concentrated nutrition needed for regeneration.
Delicious and effective. Okay, our 5th food, wrapping up this first batch, circles back to challenge that low-fat dogma again. Nuts. The fat paradox.
Wow, yes, nuts. Predictably, Margaret's cardiologist warned her off them. Walnuts, almonds, too high in fat, too many calories, that old song and dance.
A deeply ingrained fear in the medical world.
Totally. But the sources argue, and the science backs this up, that the types of fats in these nuts, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, are exactly what damaged arteries crave. They're like building blocks for repair.
So how do these good fats help?
2 main ways. First, they significantly reduce that systemic inflammation we talked about, the root cause of plaque. Second, they literally help make the artery walls flexible again, less stiff. When your arteries are flexible, they handle blood pressure changes way better.
And Margaret felt this directly.
Very quickly, yes. After just adding a daily handful of mixed raw nuts, her circulation improved so much that her chronically cold hands and feet warmed up. And the numbness she'd had in her fingers for months, it just disappeared.
That's tangible proof. Better blood flow right to the extremities.
It's immediate feedback, right? Powerful evidence of restored peripheral circulation.
Okay, that's a great place to pause on the first 5. We tackled some big myths about fat and cholesterol, introduced some potent compounds like allicin.
And nattokinase, yeah. Now, in the next section, we get into the second half of Keiko's list. This batch focuses heavily on fighting inflammation, the quality of our fuel sources, and some powerful spices.
Right. Let's start with food number 6, wild-caught fatty fish.
Yeah.
You stressed the wild-caught part. The purity factor is critical here.
Absolutely critical. Keiko was adamant. Not just any fish will do. The sources specifically warn against farm-raised fish, especially common ones like Atlantic salmon.
Why? What's the problem with farmed?
Contamination, mainly. They can have higher levels of toxins like PCBs, mercury, things that actually increase inflammation in the body. So
Okay.
eating the wrong fish could literally counteract the benefits you're seeking or even make things worse.
Okay, so purity is paramount. If you're trying to heal your heart, avoid farmed. What should we be looking for?
Focus on the small, oily, wild-caught guys. Think SMH. Sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, wild-caught only, and herring. Sardines, mackerel, anchovies are particularly good choices.
Why those specifically?
They provide the most concentrated and cleanest forms of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. These are the ultimate anti-inflammatory compounds for the cardiovascular system. They strengthen the heart muscle itself, they help stabilize plaque, making it less likely to break off, and they directly combat that chronic inflammation.
Got it. Smash fish, wild caught. Okay, food number 7 is one people might be happy to see. Dark chocolate. But with caveats, right?
Big caveats. The rules are strict here. We are absolutely not talking about sugary milk chocolate bars. It has to be dark chocolate. Minimum 70% cacao content, preferably 80% or even higher.
70% plus. Why? What's in the cacao?
It's packed with flavonoids and polyphenols. These are powerful antioxidants.
How do antioxidants help the heart?
They protect the heart muscle cells from oxidative stress, which is like cellular rust, a key part of aging and arterial hardening. But maybe more importantly, just like the nitrates in greens, these flavonoids trigger your body to release more nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide again. So better blood flow, lower pressure.
Exactly. Improves circulation, relaxes arteries, increases elasticity, all good things.
And Kiko added that interesting psychological angle too. Margaret was stressed from denying herself everything.
Right. Keiko pointed out that the chronic stress from constant deprivation might actually be more harmful than enjoying a small amount of high-quality dark chocolate. Stress constricts blood vessels, you see.
So a little bit of calculated pleasure could actually interrupt that stress cycle. Makes sense. Health is mind and body.
It's integrated. You can't separate them.
Okay, food number 8. Another victim of the fat phobia. Avocados.
Yep. Margaret avoided them. Too fatty. Classic mistake based on outdated advice. The reality is avocados are loaded with monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid, incredibly beneficial.
How do these specific fats affect cholesterol differently?
It's quite sophisticated. They don't just lower the bad LDL cholesterol. They also tend to increase the good HDL cholesterol. And HDL is like the cleanup crew. It scavenges harmful fats from your bloodstream and takes them back to the liver to be dealt with. Avocados help fuel that cleanup process.
Nice. And there was another benefit mentioned, something that challenges the need for certain meds.
Yes. Potassium. Avocados are packed with potassium. Potassium helps your body balance sodium levels, which relaxes the tension in your artery walls. This helps regulate blood pressure really effectively, often more smoothly than prescription drugs, which can have side effects like dizziness or fatigue.
Wow. Potassium power. Okay. Food number 9 takes us to the spice rack, but treating it like serious medicine. Turmeric. The inflammation fighter.
Right. Turmeric's power comes from curcumin. That's the bright yellow compound. And it's one of nature's absolute top anti-inflammatory agents.
So it directly fights the inflammation that damages arteries. But the source claimed it could also help reverse existing plaque. How would that work?
It works by interfering with key inflammatory pathways in the body, things like NF-κB that drive the whole plaque building process. When you dial down that constant inflammation signal, the body can switch from just trying to cope into active repair mode. But there's a huge but.
Absorption.
Exactly. Curcumin on its own is notoriously difficult for the body to absorb. Your liver breaks it down almost instantly.
Right, I remember this detail was crucial. Keiko insisted it had to be eaten with black pepper. Why?
Black pepper contains a compound called piperine. Piperine does something amazing. It inhibits the specific liver enzyme that breaks down curcumin. It essentially acts as a bodyguard, allowing the curcumin to get into your bloodstream and stick around.
How much difference does it make?
The studies suggest piperine can increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. That's 20 times more bioavailable. Without the pepper, you're mostly just eating a yellow spice. With the pepper, it becomes a potent, almost pharmaceutical-grade anti-inflammatory.
2,000%. That kind of detail is exactly what gets lost in general advice, but it makes all the difference for results.
It's the difference between food and medicine in this case, and Margaret felt it. Within 6 weeks of consistently using turmeric with pepper in her food and maybe supplements, her C-reactive protein levels, a key marker of inflammation, dropped dramatically. 2 levels her doctor apparently said he'd never seen in someone her age.
Incredible. Okay, finally, food number 10. Properly prepared beans and legumes.
Yeah, beans, they often get a bad rap, right? Heavy, hard to digest, cause gas. Margaret avoided them for those reasons.
So what was Keiko's secret? The properly prepared part.
Traditional methods. Soaking them for a long time, sometimes sprouting them, cooking them thoroughly. These steps break down the complex sugars and phytic acid that cause digestive issues for many people. It makes them much gentler on the stomach while unlocking their nutrients.
Okay, so easier digestion. What's their specific role in helping the heart?
They're fundamental. They provide essential fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Soluble fiber is amazing. It binds to bile acids in your gut. Your liver then has to pull cholesterol from your blood to make new bile acids, so it naturally lowers your cholesterol.
Indirect cholesterol lowering. Clever.
Plus, beans are full of plant-based protein and critical minerals like magnesium and potassium, both vital for steady heart rhythm and healthy blood pressure. They're nutritional powerhouses when prepared right.
So, looking back at all 10, garlic, whole eggs, fermented soy tempeh, dark greens, nuts, wild fish, dark chocolate, avocados, turmeric with pepper, and properly prepared beans. It's not random.
Not at all. It's a complete system. Each food addresses different aspects: arterial flexibility, inflammation, clot prevention, blood pressure, plaque stability. It creates, as the source called it, a cardiovascular healing cascade.
A diet designed not just to survive, but to actively regenerate.
Exactly.
Which brings us to Section 4, the proof, the transformation that apparently baffled the medical establishment. Margaret goes for her checkup after just 3 months on this new way of eating.
And the results were, well, unbelievable to her doctor. The source says he initially thought the testing equipment must be broken. The numbers just didn't compute with his understanding of heart disease progression.
Let's get specific. What were the key metrics that changed so drastically? You mentioned ejection fraction. Explain that for us.
Right, ejection fraction, or EF. It measures how well your heart is pumping. Specifically, what percentage of blood leaves the left ventricle with each beat. Healthy is usually 50–75%. Margaret's was dangerously low before.
And after 3 months of food changes?
It improved by 25%. That's a massive jump. It signifies a fundamental improvement in the heart muscle's strength and efficiency. Plus, tests showed her arteries were significantly more flexible, less stiff, and the plaque. It wasn't just stable, it showed signs of actually regressing, shrinking.
That's the holy grail, isn't it? Plaque regression without surgery.
Pretty much. And when Margaret told her doctor, hey, I just changed my diet based on my neighbor's advice, he was stunned, dismissive at first, insisted it was biologically impossible without new drugs or procedures.
Which speaks volumes about the gaps in medical training, right?
Huge gaps. The irony is the objective data was right there on his screen. He later admitted to Margaret, apparently, that medical school taught him next to nothing about using food therapeutically. Even though the scientific literature exists for these compounds, it prompted him to start researching it himself.
And crucially, Margaret wasn't a one-off miracle. The sources mention other cases, suggesting this approach is reproducible.
Yeah, they highlighted Dorothy, 84 years old, actually scheduled for bypass surgery. She was hesitant, but agreed to delay the surgery for 8 weeks and try Keiko's food plan.
8 weeks isn't long. What happened?
Her symptoms improved significantly in that time, less pain, more energy. 6 months later, her heart function had recovered so much that the surgeon said the bypass was no longer needed. Food achieved what they planned surgery for.
Incredible. And there was another example, Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Yeah.
72, already had a couple of minor heart attacks. His doctor had basically told him to wrap himself in cotton wool, avoid any exertion. After following this protocol, his health markers improved, and he went back to hiking mountains, something his doctor had strictly forbidden.
Wow. These stories really drive home the point that heart disease maybe doesn't have to be just managed decline.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the economic side of this, the absurdity of it all.
It's stark when you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
The average senior with heart disease in the U.S. spends, over $18,000 a year on meds, procedures, appointments, mostly just managing symptoms, keeping things from getting worse.
$18,000 a year for symptom management.
Yeah.
And compare that to the cost of the foods that potentially reversed Margaret's condition.
Less than $50 a month. Even using high-quality ingredients, organic greens, wild fish, the cost difference is just astronomical. $50 versus $18,000.
And that really gets to the core argument presented in the sources, doesn't it?
It does. The argument is that our current system is heavily incentivized towards things you can patent and profit from: drugs, surgical devices, procedures. There's just no massive profit motive to promote cheap, readily available foods, even if the science is strong.
You can't patent garlic. You can't patent turmeric with pepper.
Exactly. So the information, while often publicly available in research journals, doesn't get amplified and integrated into standard care the way a new patented drug does.
It's frankly infuriating thinking about people suffering, going into debt, being told there's no hope when answers might be in their kitchen. Margaret, now 82, 4 years after that grim prognosis, she's ballroom dancing, hiking.
Living a full life. Her heart is reportedly stronger now than it was when she was 70. Her story is the synthesis, really. It shows the power of these foods working together, that healing cascade.
So the big takeaway for you listening right now, if you're dealing with heart health issues or want to prevent them, the message seems clear. Don't necessarily wait for permission from the conventional system to explore this.
Precisely. Your doctor, with the best intentions, might be skeptical or simply unaware because this isn't typically part of their training. But the scientific evidence for the components, the allicin, the nitric oxide boosters, the nattokinase, the curcumin, the healthy fats, it's substantial. And the safety profile of eating these foods is excellent. The potential upside, as we saw with Margaret, Dorothy, Frank, it's life-changing.
So what's the immediate action step if someone's inspired by this?
Start simple, but start now. Don't feel you have to do all 10 perfectly overnight. Pick 3, just 3 from the list we discussed, and commit to incorporating them correctly into your diet every day. Pay attention to the preparation details, they matter.
Okay, let's list them one last time clearly as a reminder for action.
Right. Number 1, garlic, crushed and rested for 10 minutes. 2, whole eggs, yes, including the yolk. 3, fermented soy, like tempeh or natto if you can find it. 4, dark leafy greens, 2 cups daily, prepared well. 5, raw nuts, a handful a day.
6, wild-caught fatty fish, remember MSH. 7, dark chocolate. 70% cacao or higher small amounts. 8, avocados. 9, turmeric, always with black pepper for absorption. 10, properly prepared beans and legumes.
Choose 3. Start today, and then really listen to your body. Notice the changes. They might come faster and be more profound than you've been led to believe is possible.
It's about taking back some control, using knowledge to fuel your body's own healing capacity.
Absolutely. Which leads us to our final thought for you to chew on. Margaret's story demonstrates the heart's incredible potential to heal, to regenerate at any age if given the right fuel. If these simple, inexpensive food shifts can achieve results deemed impossible by standard medicine.
It forces us to ask, what other chronic health conditions are we currently treating with this mindset of just managing decline? Where else might simple, targeted nutrition unlock the body's innate ability to regenerate if only we knew how?